Curtis, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. In fact, I'm in Long Island City. This is where Zoran won the vote by 75%. And I'm campaigning here to get some of these millennials and Gen Zers who voted for him to vote for me in the general election in November.
All right, so let's get into the numbers then. Where do you think you stand right now? There's a lot of people who peg him, 60, 70% being mayor. They think Adams might have a shot. Where do you put your campaign right now in terms of the race to become the next mayor?
Well, I ran against Eric Adams the last time in 2021, and I advised everybody he would be corrupt and that we would have chaos. And unfortunately, I was right. But I got 28% of the vote. So I start with 28% of the vote. I didn't have a Republican primary. Nobody challenged me. Eric Adams had that opportunity. He chose not to get into the Republican primary race. And in the latest polls, I'm rated third behind Zoran and Andrew Cuomo. Eric Adams is rated last. So he's got the highest unfavorable ratings of any candidate who has ever run for elective office, 69%. And I have favorability ratings. So I can go up. I don't see where Eric Adams or Andrew Cuomo go anywhere but where they are right now, which is loser status to Zoran.
All right, so let's just say for hypothetical purposes that it's basically a two-person race, you and Zohan, right? Mamdani. If that was the case, last time you mentioned you got 28% against Adams. How do you go from 28 to 50 plus 1 this time, even if it's a two-person race?
Well, number one, Zohan has a following that's on the far left. He's progressive, he's a self-affirmed socialist. I can attract moderate Democrats. Also, a lot of independents. There are twice as many independents in New York City as there are Republicans. And I have a second line, an independent line, which is first on the ballot, protect animals, which a lot of women especially will vote for me because they may never vote for a Republican. But when it comes to protecting animals, no-kill shelters, and going after animal abusers, that's a passion for them. And that's a line that I have that no other candidate has had a following of.
How many lines do you guys have in New York? I always feel like there's like 30 lines of different parties. How many are there?
Well, to be honest with you, this is the first time that you had Andrew Cuomo opt for an independent line, Eric Adams, an independent line. In fact, he chose two and he's going to have to choose one. I've never seen an election cycle like this. But remember, there are only two mainstream candidates, the Democratic Party, that's Zoran, Curtis Sliwa, the Republican line. It's almost impossible for somebody to get elected on an independent line because it's buried on the ballot.
Right, but you add them up. So in your case, you have two lines, the Republican line and this animals line. So those get combined, right?
Correct. And remember, a lot of those who are independents and moderate Democrats, especially women, will vote for me on the Protect the Animals independent line. But it goes Zoran, Democrat. It goes Curtis Sliwa, Republican, and the first independent line is Protect the Animals. So you'll actually see Curtis Sliwa next to one another, what makes it easy for the voters. It's going to be very difficult to find Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo on the ballot. You're going to have to go on a search and find mission to get them on the scanner.
Okay, so let's just, I said it was a potential, hypothetically, a two-person race. It's not. Do you feel confident that Cuomo stays in the race? What is the vibe there? I thought it was embarrassing the way he got his clock cleaned. And I can't believe he'd want to stay on the ballot, but apparently enough people are urging him to do it. Do you get the sense that he actually is going to see this through to November?
I've known Andrew Cuomo as long as I've known Eric Adams, over 40 years. Andrew Cuomo's not leaving this race. He's number 2 in the polls. And you have to understand, on primary day, the unprecedented, never before, 102-degree weather pattern kept most of his 55-plus voters away. If it had been in a normal election day, he might have won, or it would have been a lot closer than it ended up being. So if I'm Andrew Cuomo, and I don't like Andrew Cuomo, and I don't like Eric Adams, and I'm the only Republican, they're the ones who want migrants to be able to vote Adams and Cuomo. They're for Sanctuary City. I'm not. But if I'm Andrew Cuomo, why would he drop out? He's in second place, only 6 points behind Zoran.
Okay, so give me the Curtis Sliwa strategy, though. You had 28 last time. You got at least 4 major names in the race right now. You, Zohan Mamdani, Cuomo, and Adams, right? How do you get a winning coalition?
Well, number one, Sean, I'm a Republican who can go into neighborhoods where the only Republican they've ever seen is Abraham Lincoln on a $5 bill. And the other campaign issue, which everybody actually nods their head no matter who they're in favor of, I said, you realize we live in a city under Eric Adams and previously Governor Cuomo, where the only thing we lock up is toothpaste in the drugstores, and we don't lock up criminals. And they have to take responsibility for that because they were in charge, and none of that was attended to. In fact, Sean, if Cuomo had succeeded as governor, if Adams had had a successful mayoralty, you would never have known who Zoran Mamdani is. Their two failures have created the traction for Zoran Mamdani because they created a city in which nothing's affordable, in which the cost of living is skyrocketing, and which crime and quality of life are an everyday reality for citizens. And that has given Zoran a turbocharge towards November 4th. I'm the only one in the streets who can take him on. These two guys spend all their time with the millionaires in the suites, and the millionaires were wrong in the primary. They chose Cuomo. Whoever they choose in this cycle, they'll be wrong again because this battle is going to be waged in the streets.
Okay, so I want to look. I get the issues, right? To me, and I want to get to that in a second because it blows my mind. You're absolutely right. Like, if you care about immigration, if you care about crime, if you care about cost of living, you're the guy, right? That to me, you're more of the common sense guy than the Republican. It's just, you've been a fighter for New York for decades. That being said, I've been in campaigns a long time. They take resources, they take a team. Talk to me about what the Curtis Sliwa team looks like. Do you have adequate funding? Do you have a team behind you that's knocking on doors and targeting New Yorkers?
Well, in New York City, we have something that is called matching funds. And I did not qualify for that because I didn't have a challenger in the Republican primary. I will receive my matching funds July 15th. I will have $4 million to start the campaign. And that's a lot of money at the beginning. And then you get an 8-to-1 match from every city resident who actually contributes to your campaign thereafter. So I will top out with $8 million. I will have close to 17,000 contributors, many of them on the low end. And I am the candidate of the blue-collar working class neighborhoods, the outer boroughs. Those are the boroughs that were abandoned by Cuomo as governor and by Eric Adams as mayor. Eric Adams has been a consistent adversary of everything in the outer boroughs. He put the migrant shelters in there. He put the normal shelters. He's for something called the City of Yes that would allow developers to knock down private residences, 1- and 2-family homes, and construct apartment buildings. And he's for the building of the lithium-ion battery warehouses, which are extraordinarily dangerous in residential areas. And I'm the only candidate, whether it's Cuomo or Adams, who's in opposition to all of those. So I'm the candidate of the blue-collar working class outer borough homeowners that Zoran wants to tax extra because of the complexion of their skin.
So, look, the bottom line, though, as I said, I'm with you on the issues, and I think you're absolutely right. But it takes resources. You mentioned the money that you're going to get in matching funds. Have you had a conversation with anyone in the National Party or any of the super PACs or to come in and help you at any way, shape, or form?
Well, nobody with the RNC, although I have the state GOP support, Elise Stefanik, the congresswoman, Mike Lawler, the congressman, and all the elected officials in New York City and New York State. So my support within the Republican ranks is solid. There are talks of putting together a PAC. I'm not at liberty to discuss that now. But I think a lot of Republicans have to really focus not so much on this election. There's so many bigger issues that President Donald Trump has, obviously, the Ukraine and Russia, trade with Red China, Iran, Israel, Hamas. He's got to worry more about Elon Musk and these upcoming elections, the midterm elections, because Elon Musk is threatening the Republican majority right now. And I think their attention really has to be on that because they have a margin-thin majority in the House. And Jeffries is salivating, the guy from Brooklyn who knows how to quote Biggie Smalls more than he knows anything about government, is salivating at the opportunity to become the next Speaker of the House. And then it's impeachment time. Nothing will move forward. So really, the national RNC has really got to focus on the danger that Elon Musk poses to the midterm election cycle with this new party, the American Party.
So there are people on the right, Curtis, and I know you've heard this, who have said to Donald Trump, hey, double down on Eric Adams. He's the devil you know. He can reach out to black voters in New York. Have you heard that at a serious level? Are you doing anything to thwart that effort? How big of a deal is it?
Well, President Trump is a very, very popular figure in the rest of New York State and in the rest of the country. There's no doubt about that. But New York City is not Trump land, is not MAGA land. So if you have the support of the MAGA community in New York City, it may be to your detriment because immediately the Democrats cut you off, the independents cut you off. I wish it could be different, but it's not. And nobody trusts Eric Adams. 1 minute he's the Biden of Brooklyn. Next minute, he wants Trump's endorsement. He had a chance to run in a Republican primary. He took a poll. I beat him 72-24 with a few undecided. So Eric Adams is a man without a party, a man without a platform. All he has is his mayoralty. And quite frankly, if you looked at the indictment as I did, you would see that he would be in a jail cell right now with Bobby Menendez doing time, if not for President Donald Trump plucking him out of the criminal justice system.
Curtis, what does it say about New York when you think about the candidates that are running, right? As I said, your bona fides are strong. You've been fighting crime and standing up for New Yorkers for decades. Literally, you took a bullet. But I look at the other three candidates, right? So you've got Zohan Mamdani, who is a self-avowed socialist that wants to have the government run grocery stores. He had said some unbelievably anti-Semitic things. You've got Andrew Cuomo, who was forced out of office for a myriad of things, COVID, women, you name it, right? And then you've got Eric Adams. What does it say that, like, those are three of the top four candidates that New Yorkers have decided to put forward? I mean, they chose Mamdani. I get Adams. People thought he, for whatever reason, they elected him the first time. But to your point, you've been sounding the alarm on Eric Adams, and yet New Yorkers he's still got enough support, some of it, but Zohan Mamdani, that's the one I think really baffles me, that New Yorkers chose him above all of the other Democrats in that race to make him their nominee. And that was a scary thing to me.
Well, Sean, let me explain. All three that you described are Democrats. And this is the result of the infighting in the Democratic Party. As you said, Zohan is a proud socialist and has not at all modified his anti-Semitic positions. But what some people have made a mistake is they're attacking his faith and they're attacking his culture. And they're just victimizing him. They're making him a martyr. They're actually creating a circumstance where he can measure the drapes at City Hall. We have to stick on the issues. We can beat him on the issues. But you can't beat him if you're going to constantly attack his religion and his culture. There are many Muslim voters here in New York City. There's 1 million. And they are very conservative. Many of them that I know personally voted for Donald Trump because of their values. But when you attack Muslims, then it becomes very tribal. And immediately you push them to Zohan Mamdani. You look at the analytics. He won the Muslim vote overwhelmingly in areas where they do not accept a socialist manifesto at all, or the culture of the far left. You got to think about that. And the reason they're voting for Zohan, because the attacks on their religion and culture continue, unfortunately, from those who are in opposition to him.
Okay, I get that. But recently, there was some research that came out that showed that he once claimed to be Asian and African American. Is that fair game? That we should, I get not attacking his religion, but the idea that he self-described himself as both Asian and black or African American, depending on what the box looked like. Do you think that's fair game?
I got to tell you, that's splitting hairs because first off, Sean, he didn't get into Columbia. His father, professor of African studies, that didn't help him get into Columbia. He had to go to Bowdoin, a small college up in Maine. Now, he shouldn't have put down that he was an African American, but he is Asian. He is from an Indian family. And secondarily, he did check in a box later on in the transcript that he was from Uganda. So again, you beat him up on that issue. I got to tell you, Sean, you know yourself, Well-heeled Democrats and Republicans have had their sons and daughters get into privileged universities because of legacy. Some of these kids couldn't chew gum and think straight and didn't belong at that university. Bottom line is Zorhan did not get into Columbia. Eric Adams has said, well, he took a seat from an African-American student. He didn't, because he didn't get into Columbia. We need to get back on track, attack him on his policy positions, and we can beat Zorhan at the ballot box on November 4th.
Do you think he is anti-Semitic?
Oh, there's no doubt. Zorhan has not only stated many anti-Semitic statements and followed up on the tropes, but he's doubled down when given an opportunity to modify, like AOC has, like to a degree Bernie Sanders has, although he is a born Jew. They have morphed. He has refused to morph. He's doubled down, dug in. He is a socialist. He is an anti-Semite, but it's the Democratic Party, the party of Adams, the party of Cuomo, that gave him a victory on primary day. I'm the only Republican. Remember, I have Republican Party values, and I don't share the values of Adams, of Cuomo, or Zorhan.
You know, you mentioned where you were today out campaigning. When you talk to folks, do they regret their vote or are they proud that they voted for Zorhan Mamdani?
No, in fact, some of them are yelling as we speak, as they're passing by. There are a lot of millennials and Gen Zs who are not in Zorhan's camp. Obviously, the ones who voted for him are euphoric. But too many people on our side, I'm a baby boomer, we vilify them. We say they're stupid, they don't work hard, they don't have our same value system. So they may not join Zorhan on election day, but what they will do is sit at home. And they are the majority of the voters. They are the majority of the population here and all over the country now. My baby boomers, we're the minority. And in New York City, some have fled to Florida and more will follow. And some are no longer with us. They've gone off to heaven. So we don't have the votes solely with baby boomers. The millennials, the Gen Zers have the votes. I'm out there in the streets getting them on our side. I'm getting them to vote for the values of public safety, of patriotism, and most importantly, common sense.
But Curtis, I guess the question I'm still trying to figure out as I went through the election results is, did they know what they were buying with Zorhan Mamdani? Meaning, he obviously did a very good job on social media and getting the word out by doing a lot of clips like this. But they seemed to know that he was a socialist, and he obviously made some very open anti-Semitic comments. So when you're out there campaigning and talking to folks, are you trying to convince them that the policies are wrong or that he's just not? Right? Because to me, I almost feel like New Yorkers knew that he was a socialist and they bought into it. So are we trying to go against his policy saying, guys, you don't know what you're getting with this guy because it's going to result in a really bad thing? Or, because that's where I'm trying to figure out the line of attack.
Sean, he has hit the nerve of all New York City residents, even those who didn't support him. The rent is too high to pay. It is too high to pay. And the cost of living is skyrocketing. Electricity, water rates if you're homeowners, then just buying your basic needs in the local bodega, grocery store, whatever it is. And he has said, hey, the cost of living is too high. All New York City's residents will recognize that. And Andrew Cuomo spent too much time fighting over the Palestinians and the Israelis, which is an important issue, but it's not going to determine the future of who becomes the next mayor of the city of New York. And Eric Adams has been invisible for 3.5 years on those issues. The reason nothing's affordable, the reason that the cost of living is skyrocketing is because of Eric Adams, the fees, the fines, the extra taxes, congestion pricing, which has strangled Lower Manhattan. I'm the only candidate against congestion pricing. Eric Adams, Cuomo, Zorhan, for congestion pricing, for more taxes. So if you want a guy who wants to lower taxes, who the financial board of the city of New York rated the best candidate, because I'm the only one who would cut the budget, not any of those three, you got to vote for the Republican in November, Curtis Sliwa. And if people want to find out more about what I stand for that differentiates myself from Zorhan, Cuomo, and Adams, all they have to do is go to sliwa4nyc.com. Sliwa4nyc.com. And notice, I'm the candidate who takes the subways every day. I'm the candidate in the streets. That's how you beat Zorhan on November 4th.
All right. Well, I'm going to get you some time to get out there and go knock on some doors and greet people. Curtis, be safe out there. Good luck, and we'll check in with you later.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity. Anytime, Sean.
You bet. Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.